Welcome to Deep Thought. Learn the language of your dreams. Learn the language of your dreams. I'm going to tell you what. Dreams. One thing about dreams. Now, I've already established, that dreams are basically communications from your subconscious. And that those dreams could even predict the future. But remember, when I talked about like the example of, you might have dreams about a house, and this house is steadily falling apart, and that could represent like your own health falling apart. Understand something. The subconscious, when it's communicating through dreams, will be extremely rare that will say, hey man, it's like somebody communicating in the dream. Hey man, this what going on. This is happening. Extremely. In fact, most of your dreams might not have any direct communication in it. So understand one thing, your subconscious doesn't have the same type of conscious voice that we have. It doesn't have that voice where it can talk, but it still communicates. But understand something, there's two ways. Communication happens in two ways, verbal and nonverbal. Left brain and right brain. It's the left brain that communicates. It's the right brain that doesn't communicate. It communicates verbally. Understand that, very important. The right brain communicates through symbols. Like symbols. That's the key. The right brain communicates through symbols, through stuff that represents something else. Right? So when you have a dream, okay, I use the house example. That house represented you. Now, in some of my dreams, like, I'm going to tell you what, in my dreams, the house represents myself, my more intellectual self, and what's going on there. Because sometimes I have dreams where I'm in a big house and it always has room, or it might have, like I used to have a lot of dreams where I had parts that I wasn't going into. Parts of the house, I live in one part, but wouldn't stay out of the others. And what that dream meant was there were aspects of myself that I wasn't using, And also, I remember I had one dream where I was living in a house that I was actually renting. And in part of the house was a lot of knowledge and books and everything that I wasn't using. And it didn't belong to me. And what that dream meant to me was that dreams were programming. It was someone else's programming, somebody else's knowledge. So when I started dealing with that and shedding that program, taking off that mask, that house actually burned to the ground, and then another one built up in place. So I haven't had that programming dream for a while, a long time. I haven't had it since the house burned down. Now, how do I know all of this? I learned the language of my dreams. Because, okay, I use that house example, but in my personal example, my life force, my body is usually represented by a car. And there have been times when my health would go down, I wouldn't be riding a car, but I'd be riding a bike. But then when my health get back up, I'm back in that car. So that was the language. See, the language of your dreams, it's communicating through symbols. What does it represent? Even when you have specific people in the dreams, they may not represent that specific person. But what does it represent? It could be a dream about an uncle that you have that's real stingy, right? And you need money from that uncle, and the uncle's not giving it to you. Now, it might not be your actual uncle. You could be a person in business and you want to do some stuff and you look into some places for a loan, and your dream is like, bruh, they ain't going to give you that loan. They're going to be just like your uncle, right? So here's how you have to do it. I mentioned in an earlier podcast this week about a dream journal. As best as possible, you get a journal, write down your dreams, write down everything, and look for the patterns. And then try to think like during a dream, and you probably have to write this down quickly as soon as you get up. How did you feel when something happened? How did you feel when a particular person showed up? Now, that person could represent the actual person, or it could represent an image of a person. Or, like I said, that stingy uncle could represent the bank. That bully or somebody big and mean could represent a potentially dangerous situation. It could be somebody you actually know. Very important. Very important. And for the metaphysicians out there, I'm just doing the first level, okay? Just doing the basic level. Y'all hold back. But everything is going to represent a symbol of something. What does it represent? Try to get an idea. Now, this ain't to say it's not like going in on a particular person or represent a particular person. But that's why you have to interpret it. What does this mean? How did you feel when you had that dream? Like, here's an example, too. Sometimes if you're doing some work on yourself, right? Maybe, like changing your body, right? Changing your body, like you losing weight or something, and you're getting more muscular, or your body's getting tighter or something like that. You might have a dream that show you an image of that, how that is, the final image. Like say you're a dude, right? You losing like all of this weight, you getting more muscular. You'll have a dream that show you at that final step. Now, if you are uncomfortable with that final step for whatever reason, your subconscious will be like, oh, okay, I try to show you where you're going to be. All right, you uncomfortable with it. All right. Then all of a sudden, in the conscious world, when you're awake, you try and lose that weight. All of a sudden, you're like, damn, how come I stopped? I'm doing all the same thing. All of a sudden, it stopped. That's because your subconscious, your body is saying, oh, you don't really want this. So I ain't going to give it to you. Now, same dream. You see it and you feel good afterwards. Your subconscious is like, oh, all right, we going to keep going with this. But that's the language. And it's a lot of little stuff. It's not just one thing. And see, one of the things, understanding the language of your dreams, is not someone else's. It's not somebody else. Now, you do have some people who can interpret, right? Like I remember I had a dream. This is before I started doing YouTube and everything, right? This was when I was still working full time. I mean, I had my business and everything, but, that was only paying a few of the bills, right? It kind of gone down, and I was like kind of looking into some other stuff. And I had a dream that I could fly a little bit, but then I would come down to the ground. Then I could fly a little bit more, come down to the ground. And then finally I had a dream where I just jumped up, flied, and I just stayed in the air. Now, I had a very talented reader. She actually interpreted that dream. She said, look, what that dream is telling you is you going halfway with some stuff. You got to go full and hard. And once you do, you're going to fly like crazy. Now, that actually turned out to be a very great reading. My dream was saying, look, you working this full-time job, but then you got this other stuff. You're going to have to make a decision. If you want to fly, just go take a step out and go. And when I finally rolled from that full-time job, right, day job, I mean, it was tight at first, but really, actually, as soon as I left it, everything just exploded, literally. But my dreams was telling me that, but that was the language. See, read the language of it. It will tell you. But see, it could take a while. It's not right away. Sometimes you get some people, they can interpret for you, some talented people. But like I had one very talented interpreted that particular dream. But learn the language, learn the symbol. What does this represent? What does this represent? Try to think about it. Where were you? Like I'll have some dreams where I'm in particular locations. So after a while, I'm like, oh, when I'm in this location, not a good thing. Or when I'm in that location, not a good thing. Very important, very important. So anyway, that's all I have for now. I want y'all to think about it. And like I said, this is only, it can get even deeper. If y'all want to read, check out some books on dreams and all of that, or check out the deeper aspects, I highly encourage you to. So anyway, that's all I have for now. Thanks for listening. Think on everything I said. Peace and blessings.